Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Sean Maria. I am a witch, a Norse pagan and a nomad. I live in my van with my partner and my border collie, Faye. In this episode today, this video episode, I don't know why I called it an episode, I'll be talking about why I still feel like a beginner in my witchcraft practice. It is cold today. It is raining. I am at the very, very beginning of my menstrual phase, so my hormones and emotions are a little bit all over the place. So I've decided to just come nice and comfy and cozy with my blanket. My partner is just charging our battery. We have to charge our battery every day, so he's just doing that. So I've got a moment in the van to myself, so I thought I would take this time to film, bring a tea. This is actually a tea called Tranquility Potion from one of my friends on Instagram, Mystic Jagger. If you don't already follow her, I do highly recommend. She has some amazing stuff. Yeah, and I am taking what I said yesterday in my video about showing up imperfectly as it is. I am practicing what I shared yesterday, and if you didn't see that video and you struggle with perfectionism and getting in the way, or just not being able to show up and you don't know why you can't get things done, maybe go and check that out. Might be a bit of inspiration for you. So I'm just showing up as I am today, and I'm cozy and comfy, and all I'm going to be doing is chatting to the video. So if you want to go and get comfy and cozy and grab yourself a tea while you listen to me, then please do so and join me. So why I still feel like a beginner when it comes to my witchcraft. Where do I start with this one? I have no notes. I have no plans. I'm just kind of going in and seeing what comes up. I've been thinking about this idea of still feeling like a beginner for a little while now, for a few weeks. And I'm thinking, I have no plans. And now I feel silly for not having any plans or any idea of what I'm going to talk about. So let's see what actually comes out. I'm going to take a sip of my tea and see what wants to come up. So, I have been practicing witchcraft somewhat actively or intentionally for how many years? Since like 2020, so 6 years. I got my first tarot deck in 2018, I think it was 2018, and I sort of played around with it a little bit, not played like seriously, but like I kind of just tried it out a bit. But I don't think I was doing anything else. I was only sort of exploring tarot. I'd been very drawn to tarot, and one of my ex-partners bought me a tarot deck, and I was trying it out. So I guess really that's probably where my actual intentional witchcraft practice started. But it was only through the lens of tarot. I didn't really. I'm trying to think back to that time. Yeah, I don't think I really knew that I could practice witchcraft at that time, like properly, in the way that, we kind of know of witchcraft practice. Most people know of it now. Anyway, so yeah, I guess I could say then maybe that I've been practicing since 2018. So where are we now? 2026, about 8 years. So a decent amount of time, right? Like it's a pretty long time. That feels way longer than it feels like it's been to me. But I still consider myself a beginner, and I don't know if it's a like a healthy thing that I still consider myself a beginner, or if it's like self-deprecation that I do, or like a what's it called? Like imposter syndrome. I'm not quite sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Oh, I'm shaking my camera. I apologize. Oh, because you're on the bed. So I don't do a lot of spellcraft. I did try out with a lot of spells early on in my very intentional witchcraft practice in like 2020, 21, 22-ish. And I just felt like I felt like I couldn't not get into it. I felt like I was just flailing around in the dark. Like I didn't quite know what I was doing. I felt like there was all of these correspondence, all of these different spirits to work with, so many things, and I just was like, whoa, this is a lot. And I'm sure that anybody else who's kind of just getting started into witchcraft feels the same thing. You know, I think most of us come from some sort of background of media, right? So witches and witchcraft practice that we see on TV or in films or in books, and I feel like, you know, they all follow a grimoire or some kind of book or some kind of, I don't know, teachings or whatever, somebody passing down knowledge to them. And it all feels like there's this right and wrong way of doing it. There's like, you know, the good way of doing magic and the bad way of doing magic, which I personally don't really think that's a thing. This kind of good and bad aspect. I'll definitely talk about that in a different video. So what was my point? I lost my point with that. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know how to stop shaking the camera. I apologize. It's really wobbly. I'll try and keep my foot still. I'm a fidgeter. I like to fidget. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I keep tapping my foot. Okay, we found stillness. I think that a lot of us come from that background of having this idea that there's this right and wrong way of doing witchcraft. There's this rule book to follow. Similarly to, you know, think about Christianity with the Bible, for example. There is a set of rules. There is a specific set out way that they are told to practice their beliefs and etc. And that's just not how it is with witchcraft in like the real world, in real life, in like not in fiction, not in books. Especially the way I see it. And I think, I don't know, but I think the way that a lot of more modern practitioners see it is that it's so intuitive, you know. There is no right and wrong way to practice. Whatever you put out there is going to bring back a result. That might be a good result, it might be a bad result, it might be like a result that doesn't really do much. And you learn from that, but there isn't a right and wrong way of doing something necessarily. I'd take that with a pinch of salt, but and I think that can be, that's hard. I think that makes it so much harder. It's so much easier to do something when there's this set of rules or set of instructions in front of you. But when you have to just figure it out for yourself, like completely from scratch, that's not easy. Especially when you don't have a mentor of some kind, whatever word you might want to use, mentor, guide, whatever, teacher. If you don't have one of those, it's really hard to navigate all of the information and all of the things that are out there. And I didn't, and I don't. I do have more friends now in that community, but I'm not very good at reaching out and asking for help in that way. And I'm a very independent person, so I actually like figuring things out for myself. Like that's something I enjoy doing. I find that I don't really learn stuff unless I figure it out for myself. Like if somebody just teaches it to me, tells me or shows me how to do it, like that's great, but it doesn't really stick. Like I need to figure out for myself, which is a blessing and a curse because it means that I then understand everything about how something works. But it also means that I have to figure out how it works from scratch every time, and that takes a long time and it's tiring. Let me just see how long I've been talking for. I don't know. Okay, not too bad. So yeah, where do I want to go with this? So I haven't done much spellcraft, and I think for a long time I what's the word I want to use? I felt I don't know what the word is, insecure. I felt like I couldn't call myself a witch because I didn't really do much spell work specifically. And more recently, I don't know if you might have seen some of the stuff I put on Instagram, or actually I'm about to put another YouTube video up, I think, about me figuring out how to do witchcraft in my van, because doing witchcraft when you have like loads of tools around you and you have tons of space and storage and things to do witchcraft is like, it makes it a lot easier when you can just grab something that you need. But in this van, I don't have much space at all. I don't have much space to work. I don't have a set space for my witchcraft. I don't have much storage space. I have like a little cupboard just here, but it's like literally like this big. It's not it's not much space at all to store my items and my tools. And I had to decrease, shrink down my witchcraft collection, as it were, significantly when I moved into the van. I've still got a lot of stuff that I've left at my mum's. And I have ADHD, if you didn't know, so I really struggle with object impermanence, which is like basically out of sight, out of mind. If something is not in front of me and I can't see it, I genuinely forget that it exists. Even if it's something that I love and I want to work with, I forget it exists. So the stuff in here is really accessible, like it's not difficult to get to, but if this door is closed and I can't see it, I forget it exists. So it's a lot harder to do my practice when I forget it's there. So I did a video about that. And what it brought up for me was that I don't know what my practice is. I don't know what my witchcraft practice looks like. I'm gonna take a sip of tea. And it brought up a lot for me that actually was a tough thing to work through. And I think I had this feeling like I couldn't call myself a witch because I wasn't practicing doing spell work. And what I've realized as I've sat with this idea of not knowing what my practice is or what it looks like, I've realized like that's not a strong part of my witchcraft. And it doesn't have to be, and I do a lot of rituals and I do actually want to bring more spellcraft in. It's not that I don't want to do that, but it is only a part of it. And I think that, again, when we think about the media and how witchcraft and witches are portrayed, it's all spellcraft, right? It's the candles and the herbs and the cauldron and whatever form it may look in different media. But it's all spells. And really, like, actual witchcraft is partly spells, but it's not all spells. Some of it's spells, some of it is just energy work, some of it is healing, some of it is just understanding and feeling the flow of energy. So for example, there's many ways that could be, but for example, noticing the changes in nature and working with those changes and with those cycles, that is witchcraft in itself, right? But also divination. So a lot of divination is witchcraft. This could be tarot, scrying, and I've blanked on every other form of divination. Pendulum, that's the word I'm trying to find. Pendulum and runes. There are so many different forms, even just like channeling messages without like a divination tool, but like just being able to channel those messages, connecting to source and the things that want to come through and the energy and lessons that need to be learned by either yourself or to give to somebody else. I hope I'm making sense. This is all witchcraft too. And really, that's actually a big part of my witchcraft. I even said at the beginning of this that I started with tarot. This was how it's how I found witchcraft. But I've been very interested in witchcraft for like basically my whole life. So I have, like, what I wanted to be when I grew up was a witch. And obviously when I was a kid, I wanted to be a witch. When I got a bit older into my teenage years, I was like, oh, that's like not possible. Like, I'd love to, but that's not real. That's not possible. And then as I grew older and I got into, I think like my mid-20s, I guess it must have been, I was like, oh, I can practice witchcraft. I can be a witch, not in the way I thought when I was a child, but I can. So I've been interested in this for a long time, but I found witchcraft in a way that I can actually practice it. Obviously that started with tarot. So it makes sense that divination is a big thing for me, and I am very interested in divination. I've had a lot of very, very small, very subtle experiences with noticing energies, and I'm not going to be too specific about it because I didn't know what it was when I was a bit younger, like when I was in my teenage years, but I kind of noticed some things. I don't even know how to give a story about that, but I just kind of noticed things, and I was a little bit more connected to energies and messages. And I always found, even before I was doing witchcraft, that I found it very easy to help people when I would sit in conversation with them. And it wasn't that I had all this like life experience that I could give them loads of wisdom. It was that I knew the right thing to say, and I knew what they needed to hear. And at the time, it was just part of a conversation that I had with them. But now that I'm understanding this skill that I have, I'm finding that it's being able to take a message that the universe has for them and being able to channel it into them, right? And sometimes this comes as me just sitting having a chat with my partner, my friend, my family, and I can just kind of like help them or just listen or even just like be there. Like my energy can hold space for them to feel safe. Like that's something that I have a skill at as well. And sometimes it's through tarot or through divination. And yeah, and like that's okay. And it's okay that that is a big part of my witchcraft. That is part of my skill. It's part of the thing that I have a natural talent in. And there are other aspects of witchcraft that I'm very interested in, but I don't have a natural talent to them. So I need to practice them and learn them and develop that skill, and that's okay. Yeah, and I hope that somebody who needs to hear that can hear that. Witchcraft is not, in my belief, as far as I believe, witchcraft is not something that only certain people have the ability to do, right? Anybody can practice witchcraft. Anybody can connect to the energies around them and the energies within them. Energy is energy. It's not like some people have access to it and some people don't. But I do see it as a skill, right? And some people, I feel like someone being an athlete is a really good example of this. If someone is an athlete and they are a natural, right? They have natural talent at a certain sport. They've been good at it since they were born. These people can, if they work hard and they have their talent, they can be really successful. Or they could be really talented, not work very hard, and then not get anywhere. And there are some people that might not be as naturally talented, but they work really hard and they develop the skill and they can become more successful. And I think this is the same type of thing in witchcraft, right? Like I do have this natural talent for sort of channeling messages. I need to still practice that skill and use that skill in order to actually do something with it or develop it. But that doesn't mean that there aren't other things that I can learn and put my time and effort and energy into. But it also means that for you, if there's something that you want to do within the witchcraft spiritual aspect of things, you're not natural at it, you don't have this like natural talent, you can learn and you can get better, and it is something that you can access. Yeah, I haven't really talked about much about me being a beginner. I guess I have. Yeah, I still feel like a beginner. And I think the reason for that is, let me check I'm not like literally waffling on for too long. 20 minutes. Okay, I'll try and wrap this up a little bit. Yeah, so I still feel like a beginner. I feel like I've done a lot of practice of the basics of understanding myself, of healing, of shadow work. And I feel like this has actually given me really good preparation and a really good base to now develop my witchcraft practice further. I also feel like at the beginning, like at the very beginning when I started practicing, I was like trying out all these labels, you know, am I I don't know, a grey witch or a moon witch, a lunar witch, and I think that's great. And I think the experimentation of that is great. And I've sort of had different versions of the way my practice looks over these last few years. And I think that's what I needed. I needed to experiment with all these things to understand that I don't necessarily need those labels. And I also don't need my practice to look any type of way, like at all. I don't even need it to look aesthetic. I just need to understand what it is for myself. And I do want to share it with people, because I do think that a part of like I said, part of my skill and my talent is channeling messages. So me doing these YouTube videos is part of that. It's me allowing to channel a message through for people to hear it and to help people and guide people. So yeah, and I think it helps with that. I don't think I need to do a pretty spell and post it on Instagram to be able to help people. And I'm not saying that's like a bad thing or people shouldn't do that. If you can do your practice and it comes out beautifully, like that's amazing. I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. And if you can, that's fantastic. And maybe it'll inspire other people to do the same or to do their own practice. But yeah, I realized mine doesn't need to look like that. My way of guiding people in their journey is through talking, through sharing messages. And in terms of my witchcraft practice, yeah, I feel like a beginner. I feel like I've got a lot that I want to learn, and it's okay that I'm a beginner. I was scared to still be a beginner for a while. I was scared to admit that I was still a beginner, or to seem like I was still a beginner, to seem like I didn't know what I was talking about. No, like I do know what I'm talking about. That's not really true. That I'm not an expert in every aspect of witchcraft, right? But I'm not, and I don't think anyone is. I think if anybody came up to you and said they were an expert in like all aspects of witchcraft, then they would be lying, and you shouldn't trust them. You shouldn't listen to them. Witchcraft is a huge, vast world of learning. It's constant learning. There is so much to learn in like the best way. There's, you know, you will never run out of stuff to learn and investigate and figure out and practice in witchcraft. And I think that's amazing and beautiful. And I think that I have been trying to collect all the information and be, like I said, an expert in some capacity, just spill my tea, with the information before I start really practicing. And that's wrong. Like I said, playing into yesterday's thing of like show up imperfectly, like don't try and have all of the information before you start witchcraft. Mess up. And I think that, again, there's this idea that if you do something wrong in witchcraft, like something terrible is going to happen. And, you know, there are some circumstances where you need to be careful with what you're doing. But generally speaking, especially if you're trying to do like a protection spell for yourself, or like a luck spell, or cleansing your home, or like some sort of simple type of stuff like that, just experiment and try and fail and learn from those failures, learn from the things that didn't work, learn from the things that did work. But just try and just start and just practice and really truly do it in your own way. Witchcraft is not a religion. It is not, there are no rules. There are no instructions or an instruction manual. You can 100% figure out how to do it for yourself. And you just have to trust yourself and your intuition and your own energy and your own magic. And you can have it at your fingertips and you can figure it out for yourself. And that's what I'm doing. So if you are interested in continuing to see my journey, then like keep watching my videos and you can kind of follow along with what I'm doing. I feel like, I don't know if this video was useful. I don't know if it had any useful information in it. I hope it did. But I've been wanting to talk about this, and I feel like just being able to like say this out loud and get it on the internet is a healing thing, and maybe it'll be either healing or like eye-opening for someone else to hear. So yeah, I hope that does that for you if you're listening. If you are interested in following me on Instagram, I have 2 channels on there. I have my sort of more slow living, travel, van life type account, which is Sean Maria the Wanderer. And for my more witchcraft, spiritual type content, it is Sean Maria the Witch. Yeah, and I do post a lot of like short form content over there. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. I will be trying to do a new video every day. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more from me, then please subscribe. And hopefully I will see you tomorrow. Bye.